Fair use. Fair use.
The Lord is going to put us back in our land, man, through Yahweh Shai. We're going to be sovereign. We're going to rule. We're going to win. We're going to have everything in abundance, man. Our heart's desire, and our enemies will be our footstools.
Help me! Help me! The Israelites are coming! Help!
You are nothing to me, you are nothing to the Lord, you're nothing but an Edomite.
So let's get into it.
That's not gonna be on you either.
We want to first give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rikah Kadash, Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai being the name of His only begotten Son, who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ. Now we're going to get into these prophecies and see how it's clear in multiple prophecies how the Lord described His coming and the purpose of His coming. Now when you go into using the AI, see the AI can help consolidate and concentrate these prophecies. And I went in the AI starting with this prophecy. I led off with this prophecy in Luke 21. It says, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captives into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So that trodden down of the Gentiles would hold the foundation of Yahweh Shai's coming. Okay? As long as they're being trodden down of the Gentiles, you won't have a Yahweh Shai on the scene. You see, when that trodden down stops, that is when the captivity stops. That is when the falling by the edge of the sword will stop. Okay? And he's saying that until that situation happen, this is going to be when he pops up on the scene. Verse 27 to get to the point. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the cloud with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draw near. See the point, the audience that he's talking to is the Israelites. See, this is another thing. People grab the Bible and they forget about the audience. The audiences he's talking about is the Israelites. He's telling them that they finna be surrounded by these soldiers. Okay? So it lets you know he's talking to the Israelites. They are being surrounded by soldiers, by the armies of the Romans. Okay? Which is so-called Italians, so-called the white man. Okay? Now, when you go into him coming with power and great glory and the redemption, see, that power and great glory is added to the redemption. Okay? That's how they gonna be redeemed, because he gonna have power to redeem them. Now, real quick, let's go into the AI. Let's see if it saved it for me. Okay. I might try to give it to me in a different way. But let's see if it stuck to the same thing. It says, based on the scriptures provided, it is logical, it is logical to conclude that Yahweh's return is viewed as a final salvation redemption of captives led away into all nations. Okay, not just any random person that want to grab a Bible and pick up a Bible. That's not the scriptures. That's not the prophecies. It says this interpretation aligns with Baruch 4:31 through 37, which envisions the Most High gathering captive sons from all over, and Joel 2:32, which promises deliverance for the remnant in Jerusalem. Okay, so it quotes that Luke 21. Okay, and then it goes into the Baruch. It says this passage mirrors this expectation, with Jerusalem's children being taken away as slaves, but returning in glory, gathered by the Most High from the east and the west. Not only is that Baruch, let's go into that Baruch, because they don't give you the whole thing, and that's one of the key scriptures that bring it out. And Jeremiah is pretty much the time period of this prophecy, because Baruch is his scribe. Now we go down to 31, and let's go on through it. It says, miserable are they that afflict you, and rejoice at your fall. Okay, so the people that's afflicting the children of Jerusalem, they rejoicing. See, miserable are the cities which your children serve. So the children, at the time of his return, at the time of his gathering, they're going to be in cities and they're going to be serving people. It says, miserable is she that receives your sons. The sons of the Israelites is going to be in somebody's cities, man, serving they behind. Slaves. Verse 33, for as she rejoiced at your ruin and was glad of your fall, so shall she be grieved for her own desolation. See, she gonna be destroyed. She ain't gonna be able to join a church and be a spiritual Israelite. See, that's not gonna be available. 34, it says, for I will take away the rejoicing of her great multitude, and her pride shall be turned into mourning. See, like Trump with his pride that he's distributing across the globe, which mirrors the pride of the slave master. See, and all of the slave masters, that's a part of his nation. Now, going to 35, it says, for fire shall come upon her from the everlasting. Why fire gonna come upon her? Because he's gonna do bigger than what he's doing with this Iran shooting them little missiles at them. See, it ain't gonna be one or two little missiles or 300 missiles that's just gonna come and knock down a couple houses. See, fire is gonna come. Nuclear fire is gonna come from the everlasting. And that's what they doing, unleashing the power of the Lord with their technology. He done showed them how to release his spirit, see, because his spirit is in that fire. It says, long to endure, and she shall be inhabited of devils for a great time. So it's going to be devils in that land, and that land have to be burnt completely with fire to get rid of those devils. Then you're going to have a gathering. See, when you go in Ezekiel 38, it goes on about the devils being in the land, and then it talks about the gathering. And then it goes into Ezekiel 38. Well, 36 talk about 35 and 36 talk about the devils being in the land, which is the Edomites, Idumea, okay, Mount Seir. And then 36 talk about the land, and then 37 talk about the redemption and the gathering back to the land. But then in 38 it talks about land of Gog and Magog attacking Israel. See what these dragons do, they say, oh, let's get 37. Let's don't even look at 37. Let's just look strictly at Ezekiel 38 and act like 38, 36, and 37 never happened. So it says, Old Jerusalem. So this is the place that's going to be totally burnt with fire. Look about thee towards the east, and behold the joy that cometh upon you from the Most High. Lo, your sons come, who you sent away. They come gathered together from the east and the west by the word of the Holy One, rejoicing in the glory of the Most High. So after the fire up from the everlasting destroy those devils that's in that land, that's when the gathering is going to come. Oh, they're going to come because, see, in 1948, there wasn't no freaking bomb dropped on the state of Israel or Jerusalem in that area. Now, I wanted to get go some more on that. Let's see if they saved it. Yep, it says Joel 27 now through 32. So when you start with 27, it says that he's going to be in the midst of the Israelites, okay, pouring out his spirit on the servants and the handmaids, on the slaves, those slaves that's been led away captives into all nations. Then it says that he's going to have an ultimate deliverance and salvation for those who call on his name. See, the spirit is going to come on some of the slaves. The spirit is not going to come on all of the slaves, because all of the slaves is not going to call on his name. Only the slaves that's going to call on his name, they are going to be delivered and saved. See, that's why the name is so important. The name in Paleo Hebrew is so important, because all of the other words don't have to be translated into Hebrew. But those names is so important. It means salvation. They need to stay in the Paleo Hebrew, which no man has tampered with. Acts 1 and 6. It says the apostles explicitly expected this restoration and restitution of the kingdom to Israel. See, not some freaking church, which aligns with the physical return and gathering of the captives, of the slaves. Then it says these verses from Acts 2, 22. They added 24. I didn't say nothing about a 24. In John 11, it says these verses affirm that Yahweh's death was to gather the dispersed children of the Most High into one, fulfilling the promise of a saved, unified people. Okay. It says this combination of texts interprets the second coming not just as judgment, but as an act of physical restoration and liberation of a faithful remnant of Israel, the elect. See, this is what the Bible is about. It's not about that crap that they talking about, that you just gonna call on a name. Anybody gonna call on a name. No, you left out that it's the Israelites that got to call on the name. See, this is what they leaving out. They gonna grab all the scriptures that just say call on the name, and then they don't tell you the context of what's going on with the calling on the name. It's the remnant slaves, the slaves that call on his name will be saved. So they twist up the Bible and delete the slave part. They delete that the captives that's in all nations, that's slaves, that's begging for freedom and redemption. These are the people that's going to have to call on that name. And so this is what, real quick, I want to bring that out. And so when you go into, real quick, that Ezekiel, because right now that Ezekiel is so important, I just want to let it be seen visually. Ezekiel 35. Okay, it goes into old Mount Seir. Verse 5, it says, because you have had a perpetual hatred and have shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity when the iniquity had it in. So in the end of the Salakia, at the end of the captivity of the Israelites, you're going to have these Edomites ruling. Verse 5 is talking about the end of the Israelites' captivity. They iniquity going to have an end. Okay, it's going to come to an end. And it's going to begin with them ruling. That's what 37 is talking about. It's going to begin with what? Verse 10, it says, so I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came into them, meaning the spirit which was in Joel, and they lived and stood upon their feet, an exceedingly great army. Then he said unto me, son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. The Israelites is going to stand up, see, at the end of their captivity, and they're going to fight the devils that's in that land. Okay? When they go back in that land, it's going to be in the midst of them fighting these devils. This is what 38 is talking about. It's just describing the devils that the Israelites going to fight. See? But see, what they trying to say is that they are the Israelites and they going to fight Russia. No, Russia is fighting. The devils is going to kill each other. The Lord is going to use Russia to bring that fire to Jerusalem first. See, he going to use Russia, Gog and Magog, to put fire on that land and destroy that land. The Persians, verse 5. Why did he start it off with Persia and Iran? Iran is going to be one of the major players to destroy that land and cleans that land out for the Israelites to go back to that land. Then they going to fight the Israelites also. But first they going to clean out that land. And then you get to what, verse 15? Where it says, northern place, and many people with thee, all them riding upon horses, a great company and a mighty army. And 16, and then they should come against my people Israel. See, they're going to come against the Israelites after they done cleansed the devils out of that land. This is when the Israelites done return back to that land. So what they did was they said, okay, we're going to take over in 1948. And when people get to analyzing this Ezekiel 38, they're going to think that we are the people. See, they're going to think we just fighting back, and the Lord going to be with us. Where is it? Verse 16. The Lord going to be with us because this army is fighting against us. No, it's two fights that's going to happen. They're going to cleanse out that land first of all. Because it says, I will bring you against my land that the heathen may know me. So the heathens is going to be gathered together to come against the Israelites. And the Israelites is going to be glorified way before they come against the Israelites. And that's why he made it a point to tell you they coming against his servants, not just anybody talking about their Israelite. Verse 17, thus says the Lord Yahweh, art thou he of who I spoken in old times by my servants, the prophets of Israel, who prophesied in those days many years that I will bring you against them? Okay, he been told the prophets that he's going to come against the servants. He's not coming against no freaking Edomites and the devils that's in the land that got to get burnt out of that land. Nobody has been burnt out of that land. When it's been said that Jerusalem have been totally demolished, and it was some devils in that land, and the Lord burnt them out of that land. Then the land of Magog is gonna come against them, not before. See, the land of Magog ain't gonna come against peoples in that land, and it ain't never been burned up. See, they still having gay parades and pride parades and pride month and all that crap. One of the biggest pride months in that land. So the devils are still in that land. It got to be cleansed out by nuclear fire. That's what Putin in China is going to give to the Iranians. That's going to pull the trigger and blow them people to smithereens out of that land. Right along with Babylon the Great America, who backing them up and got the same amount of tiny small hats perpetrating a fraud over here in Babylon the Great America. See, that's why Babylon the Great is said to be burnt like Sodom and Gomorrah in Jeremiah 50 and Revelation 18. So this is the context of Ezekiel 38. And it's important to understand the first part, that the Israelites is the children of slaves. They're going to be slaves, see, when they are gathered. Them people were never slaves, them Edomites, man. And they just want to convert and say that they was the freaking Israelites because the story is so amazing. Everybody want to attach themselves to the Israelites, but they don't want to be no slave. But I'm going to leave it there. I give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rikakadash. Double honor to the elders pushing the true peace of the elect worldwide, who is the blacks, the Hispanics, and Native Americans, descendants of slaves scattered around the globe on slave ships and through many captivities. Our kingdom is at hand. Shalom.